Hello, welcome to my channel. Some of you, I hope, will subscribe that followed me on the Mom series, The Misunderstanding of Multiplicity. And I also have a channel called Flower Species, 2 words, Flower Species. So if you've been to Awesomeastrid Mosaic's channel, which originally was called Sensory Overload, but when it synced all of the Google email and everything, I didn't know that I could change that name back to Sensory Overload. It kept wanting to go to my real name. So I wanted to explain why I have 3 channels now. Okay, well, for those of you that did follow originally Sensory Overload, the Mom series, The Misunderstanding of Multiplicity, you know that that was my heart passion. Really, my heart passion remains with advocacy for all misunderstood conditions, labels that would cause any kind of stigma for anybody out there. I live that out loud every day. I will not stand for a label defining anyone or for people applying meaning to things that have no meaning and giving it purpose. It's just, you know, sometimes a cigar is a cigar. So I followed basically, it got changed to Awesomeastrid Mosaics because I had to find a name because it was going to go to my real name, and so it wouldn't let me put Sensory Overload in. So it turned out to be that name. But I guess, you know, there's something that happens divinely in that I was writing the truth by putting that name in, and it wasn't a coincidence. I mean, I thought, well, what a weird coincidence, because I just typed in awesome, and I was typing in mosaics, and it was like already named, and I really didn't want mosaics because there was mosaic mines out there, and but I love mosaics, working with collages and piecing little things together. Always have. If I have the grout and the whatever, that's really just a really messy project, hobby that I always love to do. But in all forms of mosaics, putting all things together, piecing things together, taking them apart, piecing them back together, and looking at the beauty in it. So I've always loved stained glass mosaics, collages, so the name made sense, so I typed it in. And when it said that's not a username already used, I kept it. But people started saying, well, what do you think? You're awesome. People were saying, well, there's already a mosaic mines out there. And when I come to your channel, I think I'm going to see mosaics. And I mean, it just got really confusing. This is just to go show you how important a name is. So names are important. These labels and names we put on ourselves are very important. But in everything I was writing, in every collaboration, in every endeavor I've done, it's been a coming together mosaically of many shapes, emotions, so many aesthetics that I've tried, and so many different styles, and it's been such an eclectic coming together in writing, in speaking about topics, in talking about my opinions about things. So, and I think the message I wish to give everyone is that we all belong to each other. So that started to make sense. Astrid, well, Astrid's name, but Awesomeastrid, the energy I was really looking for was awesome. I was tired of drained, sick, pathological, struggling, and suffering energy. I still had empathy for people that are suffering, and in the process, and we're all on the potter's wheel all the time, and everybody has a different thing they deal with every day. But I wanted to start to reflect that we all belong to each other, and that we all are really quite awesome, everyone out there. If we would just give ourselves permission to pat ourselves on the back. and to say, I'm okay. You're okay. I'm okay. We're all okay. And I think you're awesome. And acknowledge the awesomeness in our own self. So the name turned out to be good, so I kept it. And over there I talk about all the misrepresentations in the media that have to do with mental health labels, post-traumatic stress disorder, dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder. I talk about the rape culture. I talk about autism spectrum. I talk about all the different diagnoses that psychiatry can come up with to pathologize some very normal conditions. And then when it's off the Richter scale, when it makes sense to be the way we are and when it doesn't, and how the media misrepresents that, always demonizing, criminalizing, sensationalizing it, causing further fear and stigma. So I look at all movie portrayals, books, and everything over there, and try to take the good from it. I glean the good from it. When everybody was looking at the movie Split and saying, "Oh, that doesn't represent what we are," I want to look at what we can take that's empowering from that. So that's that channel, and I try to keep it all that. I started cooking and doing crafts there, and it got just too weird. So I opened up the Flower Species channel, and that was going to be my crafting and hobbies and knitting, crocheting, and cooking, and political opinion, and this and that and the other. But I didn't know you could change the name. Here we go again. Or I would have just kept one channel. But I wanted to open my own Etsy shop, and I wanted to start my own website for knitting and crocheting and tatting, which is a form of really delicate lace crochet work. And I knew I wanted to focus mostly on, I want to say, old charm things that you don't find around too much, maybe on eBay, or vintage, yes, retro a little, but the cherished old vintage, treasured, charmed, kind of older things that to make a house feel cozy, accessories, and then some clothing, basic accessories, hats, scarves, gloves, boot cuffs, simple things. I didn't want to overcomplicate it. Few hats, few things. So I started making videos of all those things, but as I was making the videos, I was like, I couldn't get my camera to go on my hands because I have a little Logitech camera and it's hooked up to my laptop here. And so I was having to hold my stitches up all the time, crocheting a doily or knitting a hat or sewing something. And it just wasn't working for me. Plus, I ran out of disk space. I have thousands and thousands of hours of uploaded videos that I just wanted to start my page with, and like maybe put something up for sale, and then also do patterns and show where you can download the patterns and give credit where credit was due. And some of these things it's okay to sell. So after about a year of this, because it's been a year of me thinking about starting my own business part-time at home and blogging and really working this, like I see so many entrepreneurs working their crafts that they do. You need good pictures, you need a good name, and something that reflects how you approach your what you do. And I bitch and I whine and I'm a klutz. I am. That's the truth. And sometimes I come out to see videos of tutorials, and I think I can never be as together as these people are. Now I don't say I think it, but then I strive to be it, or presentable. I was trying to make presentable videos, and it was always noise in the background, bad lighting, couldn't keep the camera on my hands, or in the middle of a pattern you've worked up 1,000 times, an entire row would drop off. missing stitches, too many stitches, drop stitches, getting tangled up in the yarn. My cat would video bomb me. He likes to be a part of it. And run off with my yarn, my needles when he wanted a little scrunchy love time, little fur baby time. If I was knitting or crocheting too long, he'd let me know, keep nudging me, and then he'd just take off with my yarn, my crochet hook. Last night he took off with my measuring tape. I was looking everywhere for it. So I thought, I know that all the video goddesses and vloggers of tutorials, men and gods and goddesses out there of tutorial work, y'all don't always have your nails perfectly manicured like we see in the videos, colored perfectly with a link to this is my color nail polish, hair done, this is my hair was done, but I'm wearing a sweater by so-and-so, the link is there. No, I'd go to do a video with no makeup on, the end of the night in my PJs. I'd get dressed up during the day to do them, but 20 hours later I'd still be making the videos, and the phone would ring, the cat would scream, and keep screaming. I would drop my needles 100 million times because my left hand doesn't work very well. So I do have my real klutzy, moments, and I thought, whenever I was making a video, I'd be like, I'm going to put my glasses on in a minute, I can't see them, I'm going to put my glasses on, and then I'd wait, or, oh, the light's going down, but I'm going to struggle through. I'm overtired and my hand is shaking, but I'm going to keep going. I'm all scrunched up into this camera, but I'm going to, and I couldn't sound polite anymore, it's just nice, and okay, now we're going to put our stitch here and move our stitch marker over. I couldn't do it. So, I have opened a channel which reflects what truly goes on when I knit and crochet and tat. I get klutzy and I bitch a lot. So, does my channel name mean that I think all crocheters and knitters are bitchy and whiny and klutzy? No. And my Gmail wouldn't even let me make an account called bitch, and I wanted it to be bitch and klutzy knitting and crochet. That's what I wanted. I could only do beoch. They would let me do beoch, so it's beoch and klutzy knitting and crochet. So I'm going to give you a link. I don't know how to link all of the videos that I've uploaded to the flower species channel, the doilies, the sweaters, the hats, the scarves. I don't know how to get them over to this, my new channel. When I figure that out, I will. And I want to feature some beautiful subscribers that I've been subscribing to, and talk about a pattern now that I'm doing. So welcome to, I'm getting used to it. Welcome to beoch and klutzy knitting and crochet, where the N is capital, it's capital beoch, capital N, capital klutzy, capital crochet, capital C for crochet, capital K for knitting, at gmail.com if you want to get in touch with me. And you'll see the channel name here on this video. So what I wanted to show you is a pattern I'm working on that I think is a really cool pattern. And see, here's where it's going to be different. You're not just going to see my hands. I am going to get up and walk around, grab things, going to get interrupted, and I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to upload it as is. Mistakes, I drop a stitch, do something wrong, you're going to see it here. I'm not going to try to edit it out. And then I can finally get some things uploaded. So let me grab what I should have had here, but isn't. Okay. I think I have enough pillows to make me tall enough. So, pattern is called the ball band. I'll show it to you first. This is 3 rounds of it. I need to do 3 repeats. 3 repeats more. I saw this pattern and it spoke to me because it reminded me of mosaic, and it's done in mosaic knitting. So I wanted to show it to you in progress and then do a few repeats with you, a couple repeats. I need to do 3 more. So I'll tell you how it starts and you can follow along a repeat, and then I'll show you how to bind off or come back and bind off in another video, and give you all the information in the links about the pattern. So what happened was I bought a bunch of 100% cotton, peaches and cream, 100% cotton 4 worsted weight yarn. You get 2 ounces to every ball. It's 56.7 grams and 120, I believe, yards. The recommended needle size for this is a 4.5 needle or a US 7. To find my gauge, I'm using a 5.0. The pattern was on this ball band, but as you can see, it's very light and tiny. So I was trying to read it and couldn't get through it. So glasses, magnifying glass, I still couldn't read it. So I looked it up on Google, and sure enough, there it was, peaches and cream ball band dishcloth, done in mosaic slip stitch knitting. And then I found another pattern on Ravelry.com, at Ravelry, which led me to CanadianLiving.com, which led me to favesandcrafts.com, where it's been renamed a bajillion things. It's called Checker washcloth, gingham washcloth, mosaic washcloth, brick washcloth, and ball band washcloth. All the same thing. So the gauge you want to strive for is a 4-inch square after you've worked 18 stitches and 32 rows of stockinette. So stockinette is knit 1 row, purl 1 row. So you're going to knit 18 stitches at your 4.5 needle, and then you're going to purl 18 stitches. You're going to do that for 32 rows. When you get to 32, you're going to take a tape measure, which I finally got back from my cat, and you're going to measure 4 inches across, up and down, and diagonally. You want a 4 by 4 inch square. If you don't have that, you need to adjust. I didn't. I went to a 5.0 and then I had it. You might need to go to a 5.0 or to a 4.0. Depends on your tension, and just know that when you're knitting with 100% cotton, it does loosen up on you as you're knitting. You might want to have a stitch stopper because you don't want to lose your stitches. If you're using a cable needle, that's even better, but you would have to remember to drop one side of the needle and then turn and just not join, like work it singularly so your stitches can stay in the middle. You wouldn't want your cable to be too long because that could stretch your stitches out too much. So if you have like maybe I would say these are 7-inch needles. I'm using 5.0 millimeter and they're 7-inch needles. So I'd say if you had a 9-inch cable cord or 16-inch cable cord, and if you use the magic loop method with any size cable cord, you could keep your stitches intact without them being overstretched. If you don't have these little things that fit on a needle, like this, I finally got 2 of them last year for 50 cents. If you don't have these, for years I used an eraser tip. I just cut it off my pencil. Or bought the eraser tops. at the dollar store and just put them on there. Or I just used a rubber band at the end. But you need something to keep your stitches tight. And I would also do the other side if you have a small head, because sometimes you'll lose your stitches on the other end. Or maybe a twisty. The other thing you will need is, I always keep a crochet hook out when I'm knitting, in case I drop a stitch or two, I can go pick it up. And then you'll need a tapestry needle or embroidery needle. This is my metal one that I have. And it's a little bit more blunt on the end. It's got a high end there. It's not very sharp, but it's good and sturdy. And they do sell, also I have 3 or 4 different size tapestry needles that are plastic. I've gotten these at Walmart that look like this. You just want to make sure you can get your thread through there. You are going to need scissors. I don't have mine here. They're way over there. But you're going to need 2 needles, either 4.5 measuring tape, crochet hook, just in case you drop something. And you're going to need 2 balls of cotton. Peaches and Cream, any brand really that's 100% cotton for medium worsted weight yarn, this will work for. This color is Candy Sprinkles, and this color here is called Black Currant. Now, to make one washcloth that's 9 1/4 inches wide, you're going to need either 2 solid colors that are contrasting, or a variegated yarn like this and a contrasting yarn. So you are going to be using more of your B color. There's color A and color B. You're going to be using more of your contrasting B color than you will of your A color. You're going to cast on with A. So what you can do is you can actually get 2 washcloths out of these 2 balls of yarn. Once I'm done making this, I will have very little of this left over. I will cast on with this color, and the purple will be in the center. And those will be 2 contrasting, my centers of my squares will be purple, and my lining through here will be variegated. So that's, this pattern said, oh, you gotta make me. So I am. So you can get 2 washcloths out of this. If you go to a store, I was pricing these at Target, Walmart, Family Dollar, not like just like Dollar Tree or under 50 cents type things, but under $5 stores. You can only get 2 textured washcloths in even a pretty color for $3 something. So why not just make them? They're great. You can throw them in the washer, you can hang them in your kitchen and make great decorations in your bathroom. A couple of washcloths that are interchangeable. Find a few colors, and a really nice bath soap or something, an accessory in the bathroom to go with it. And you got a gift. You could do a spa gift, put one of these in a bag with spa stuff in it, personalize it. It's just, you know, make a little kitchen accessory, magnets for the refrigerator, and these to hang. If you got a guy and you know his colors are maybe brown and red, you could play with those colors or variegation in there and make it work. So I'm going to drop these 2 on the floor here and get going with this, okay? So that you don't have to watch forever. So I can get this to go, yeah, a little bit, so you can see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, how this starts is That looks really weird. There we go. Okay. So you have to look at part of my mouth going up and down, right? Alright. So you're going to cast on 45 stitches. Whatever needle you find for whatever yarn you're using. 45 stitches. And then you're going to knit the first row and you're going to purl the second row. So I'm just going to, and you're going to knit with color A. So you're going to cast on with color A, so you have to decide what color is going to be your contrasting color, your A contrasting color, and what color is going to be your B. The cool thing about mosaic slip stitch knitting is that you're always doing 2 revolutions and you're always catching up with 2 strands of yarn. You're never working with more than 1 strand of yarn, like in Fair Isle or shape work and strand work, where you're picking up one color and then picking up another color and then continuing to pick up colors. You're not doing that. You're working with 1 color, and to knit, you're going to go into the left of the stitch and counterclockwise over that bottom needle. I'll do that again because I've got a split there. I will find a way to get this camera so that it just goes on my hands, but for now that's not working. Okay, so you're just going to knit every stitch. Once you get your row 1 knitted and your row 2 knitted, and I vacillate between, you're going to see me vacillating between continental style knitting and or European or speed knitting, whatever they call it. But I wouldn't call it speedy with me. I don't do anything too speedy. So you're just going to knit along. Just keep knitting along. And then get to row 2 and purl a row. There are 12 rows in every repeat. You're going to do 1 repeat and then repeat those 12 rows 5 times and then bind off. You're going to cast on loosely, and it doesn't say what kind of cast on to do, so I did a long tail cast on. I'll be making short videos of how to do cast ons, different cast ons, and different stitches in crochet and that I use in doilies, so if you ever want to follow along, you'll know how to do those stitches. So I hope you'll join me once I get past the Christmas season. I'll be putting up some stuff past kind of working on my launch. I had to get past November to I have to talk to a young lady who I hope will give me some ideas. So I'm not always going to be super duper polite or perfect knitter here. I think we all learn through our mistakes, and we all make beautiful things through handmade. That's the whole thing. I mean, there's a beautiful imperfection in handmade that's charming, I think. So I will be switching, like I said, between knitting, continental or European style, what they call speed knitting or Mediterranean knitting, and also English style or American style. And I will also be switching between left and right because I like to be kind to my shoulders, neck, wrists, arms, elbows, and fingers, and head and eyes, and back. So you're going to purl them this row, and what you're doing with your purling is you're going right to left on top, doing the very same thing only it's the opposite. Your yarn is in the front when you purl, and if you were purling English style, you would go under that needle and wrap around the top. And take the needle off like that. Come back to the front, around, and off. Whereas when you're knitting, you're coming from the left to the right, and your yarn's in the back. You do this. When you're purling, your yarn's in the front. And like this. Now, if you want, that's English or American style. If you wanted to do continental style, which I go into every now and again, you're going to use your finger, your index finger, to direct this. And hold it over your work and slide your stitches over. And you're going right, grabbing that yarn that you hold out with your finger. Keep moving your stitches up here, or else you'll be stretching them out terribly and making it very difficult for yourself. So this is purling continental or English style. You don't have to come off the needle. Just going to make sure your yarn stays over the top, not in between. Okay. This is more of a shoulder elbow workout, the way I do it. And then when I want to take a break, I'll bring my yarn in front and go back to the English way, which is more just in the wrist. Wrist and fingers. And it's really important when we're knitting to take care of our bodies, take a little stretch break, get up, walk around, shake our shoulders out. Knit in good lighting. And it just mixes it up a little bit so you're not bored. Okay, so I'm going to finish purling. You'll notice when you're purling that you have a little bit more room in your stitches, a little bit more space in there, and that's really cool. So you will notice that, and then the knitting will tighten it back up again. So I'm going to come right back and be on row 3. So just purl right across. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a reference again in case you want to go download your pattern. It's in CanadianLiving.com, and it's in the garden knitting crochet area, home and garden, CanadianLiving.com, home and garden knitting and crochet article, knit a ball band dishcloth. Okay, and here's where the mosaic slip stitching comes into play, which is a lot of fun. And what you really have to pay attention to here is patterns will say yarn forward, yarn back. They'll either be written out like completely written out, yarn forward, with a little parentheses that says YF next to it, or yarn backward written out, or yarn back with parentheses YB. You'll always be slip stitching, but it will tell you, if it doesn't say yarn forward or yarn back, you're going to just slip your stitch purlwise if it says to. If it says purlwise, you don't have to worry about putting your yarn in the back or in the front. So when it says yarn forward, you're bringing your yarn in the front. When it says yarn back, you're bringing it in the back. When it says slip a stitch purlwise, you're going into it as though you were going to purl and you're slipping it off. So let's see if I can get up closer. So I'll just do the setup to the repeat and one repeat with y'all, or maybe 2, and then go off camera to keep this video short. So row 3, in the very first repeat is where you join your color B. So now we're going to be working with color B, and you're really not going to be looking at purple for a while later on. So just move that aside and keep with your color B. The first thing it tells us to do with row 3 is to join B, which we did down here, and Now go on with it. You're going to knit 4. So this is the setup to the repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to slip 1 purlwise. And it's not saying yarn forward or yarn back, so we're just going to slip it. And then knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter that stitch purlwise, right to left over the top, and slip it. Knit 5. So I'm going to finish that. I'll be right back. And when you get to the end, you're going to knit 4. You're going to stop around 4 stitches, and you're going to knit 4 at the end. So do this, slip your stitch purlwise, knit 5 to the end, and then knit 4 at the end, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I just want to remind you to make sure you slip your 1 purlwise, and then you'll have 4 stitches at the end, and knit those. That's the end of row 3. You will always maintain your stitch count with this pattern. So if you cast on 45, you'll have 45 stitches all the way, all the time. Now if you wanted to make a smaller one, you could do this with less 10 stitches and have a smaller washcloth. This will be about 9 1/4 to almost 9 1/2 inches once it's off the hook. Okay, so now we're on to row 4, where we're going to knit 4, and we're still working with color B. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we're going to bring our yarn forward, and you really want to bring it forward. Don't have it in between, or it won't work. So bring your yarn forward and slip 1 purlwise. Go into your stitch as though you're going to purl, and slip it. Bring your yarn back, and knit 5. That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring your yarn forward. Wish I could get up closer to this. See. Bring your yarn forward. Pass your slip stitch, or pass your stitch over as if to purl. Yarn back, not in the middle, but in the back. Hold it back, and knit 5. Okay. Bring your yarn forward. Come into that stitch as if to purl, and pass it over. You pretty much have a guide now. You're always going into your A, that one stitch that is color A. For me, it's black currant or purple. Still trying to figure out how they came up with purple with the color name black currant, but I liked it. So it's always going to be your little individual 5s in between, except for your 4s on the end. And then that's going to switch up too. So yarn in the front, slip purlwise, yarn in the back, knit 5. When you get to the end, knit 4. So I'm going to go finish that and be right back. Okay, so hopefully you've knit your 4 at the end. Now we're going to turn. And I will say the back side looks cute too. Front looks cute, but the back side looks cute too. And if you miss a couple stitches or get off in your count, it actually makes it look even better because your checks, your little checks will be just moved over and more mosaic and stained glass looking. So that's what I mean about I want my channel to be about making it work. Let's not get ourselves all nervous and in a bunch over everything being perfect, because you gotta find the beauty in the imperfect too. Okay? Because it's there. Alrighty, so on to row 5, we're going to switch to purling. We're going to stay with color B. Our yarn is in the front when we purl. I'm going to purl 4. And I'm going to try to do that again. There we go. So purl your 4. The yarn in the front. Whichever way works for you, which is not working anyway for me right now. But well. 3, 4. Okay. Let's knock that up a little bit. Okay. Snug it up. Alright, so now with the yarn in the back, we're going to slip that color A. Slip it. And then with the yarn in the front, we're going to purl 5. And we're going to do this all the way to the end. You're going to purl 5. The yarn in the front. You're going to drop your yarn in the back and grab that stitch as if to purl and slip it. Yarn back in the front and purl across. And you're going to do this all the way to the end till you get to your last 4 stitches, and you'll purl those. And I'll be right back and meet you at row 6. Okay, so we're back to do row 6, and row 6 is just a repeat of row 4. So row 4 was knit 4 with color B still. So you see we're using mostly the color B. So you can mix and match your yarns with other things and make other washcloths and things too. So it's kind of cool. You can get almost 2 out of 1. So we're going to knit, row 4 was knit 4 and bring our yarn forward and slip that 1 stitch there, that's A. And then the yarn back and knit 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn forward, zip to purl, slip that stitch from A, yarn back, knit 5, and that's it. So I'm just going to go on repeating row 4 for row 6, and I'll meet you back at row 7. Okay, so I don't know, it wasn't working, but we're on row 7 now, and row 7 is just turn your work and go on working. We're going to knit row 7, the entire row with color A. So pick up your color A. For me it was the black currant, or what looks like purple here. So whatever you chose as A, you're going back to work with A, and in row 7, you're going to knit all the way across, and that's all you're going to do. In row 8, you're going to purl across with your color A. So whatever you chose for A. So I'm going to go ahead and knit this row for 7 and turn and purl row 8 with this same color. And then I'll meet you back for row 9. Okay, so just a reminder, row 8, you're going to stay with color. Now's a good time to unwind if you need to. With 2 strands, it's not as bad as if you're Fair Island. But you're going to go ahead and purl row 8. So just a quick reminder how to purl. You're going in right to left in the front and over the top and pulling that stitch off. Again, right to left over the top, back around, and pull your stitch off. So you're doing the opposite of when you knit. So I'm going to purl row 8. I'll meet you back for 9. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so I am back for row 9. Now is a good time to do a stitch count. And if you have any extra stitches, try to find a spot that's not so close to the edge and knit some together. Or if you have not enough, go ahead and make one, or knit into the front and the back loop to make one, whichever your preferred method is. I wouldn't yarn over to make a stitch because that might look too loopy and gappy and give you too much space. So whatever your way is to make a stitch, if you need to make one, whatever your way to decrease is, go ahead and do that in pattern. So I'm moving on to 9. I have an extra stitch, that's why I'm mentioning it. I may have knitted a split. That happens a lot with cotton. So if it happens to you, now you know what to do. Row 9 goes like this. We're going back to color B. I'm going to stretch because I need to. And we're going to knit 1. And we're going to slip 1 purlwise. 1. And then so we're going to knit 1, slip 1 purlwise, that's the setup. Then we're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this is a fast row. I'm just going to slip 1 purlwise. So we have no worries of, is there yarn in the back, is there yarn in the front? Just slip 1 purlwise and knit 5, and then at the end you're going to knit 1. At the beginning you're knitting 1, and at the end you're knitting 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, slip and knit. I'll meet you back at row 10. Okay, so you've slipped 1 and you've knit 5, and now you're going to, don't forget to slip that last one and then knit that last one. Okay, so now what we got going on is you have 1 knitted over here and you have your A brought up over here. You have 1 knitted over here. Oh, 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 don't go away from me. Where'd you go? And I have 2 for some reason over here, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. I think I have extra stitches, but I'm going to quick count to be sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 45, 46. Yeah, I do. I have an extra stitch there. So I'm going to make these 2 go together. So row 10, you're going to, I mentioned to check it and then I didn't do it, right? See? That's what we're going to keep it. Okay, so row 10 is knit 1, but I'm going to, I don't know what y'all are doing, but I'm going to, wait a minute, if I knit 1 and slip 1, it won't be, okay. I'm going to knit 1 here. Row 10, I'm going to knit 1. I'm going to slip that same one there. It worked out okay. Weird. We'll see in the end. Okay, so row 10, we're going to be doing the opposite of row 9, where we're going to be purling. So the setup was knit 1, and yarn forward and slip one. We did that there, purlwise, and then wait a minute, where'd it go? Yarn forward, slip one purlwise, and then yarn back, knit. That's 10. So let me run by that setup again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the repeat for 10 is knit 5, yarn forward, slip one purlwise, knit 5. You're going to do that to the end and then knit the last stitch. So it's knit 5, yarn forward, slip one purlwise, yarn back, knit 5. That's row 10. I'll meet you back for row 11. Okay, so welcome back to row 11, and then all we have is one more row to do, which is 12. So row 11, we're going to purl 1, and I have my 2 extra little stitches there. We're still using color B, so I'm going to actually purl 2. Just get rid of that one stitch I've been chasing. So row 11 is purl 1, put the yarn in the back, and slip that one right there. Then bring the yarn in the front and purl 5 all the way across. Okay, put the yarn in the back and slip that one. Yarn in the front and continue purling your 5 till you get to the very last stitch. You're going to knit that, or purl that one, I'm sorry. So go ahead and purl your 5, put your yarn in the back and knit, put your yarn in the back and slip, okay, purl 5, put your yarn in the back and slip that one A stitch as if to purl, and then knit 5 again. Do it right here. Yarn in the front, grab that A color and slip it as if to purl, then yarn in the front, purl 5. Do that all the way to the end, purling the last stitch, and I'll meet you back for row 12. Yarn in the back. Watch down, Dustin. No! Gonna rain? Okay, so here we are at row 12 again. And row 12 is what we're going to repeat 5 times. And row 12 is simply a repeat of row 10 using color B. So row 10 is knit 1, and then yarn forward and slip 1 purlwise, then yarn back, knit 5. That's row 10. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, the repeat for row 12 is to repeat row 10. Row 10's repeat is knit 5, yarn forward, slip 1 purlwise. It will be color A. That's your guide to go by. Then yarn in the back, knit 5. Yarn in the front, slip your A, yarn in the back, knit 5. Yarn in the front, slip your A color, yarn in the back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn in the front, slip, yarn in the back, knit 5. Yarn in the front, slip A, yarn in the back, knit 5. Okay, yarn in the front, slip 1, yarn in the back, 5, yarn in the front, slip that 1, yarn in the back, knit your last stitch. Okay. So now our yarns have caught up to each other. We have our 2 yarns over on this end. We're ready to begin again. So I have 2 more repeats to do. Whatever amount of repeats you have to do, that's what you do. You're going to knit with your color A, which for me is going to be purple, for row 1. You're going to purl with this color, color A, for row 2. And then you're going to follow the pattern of row 3 through 12 onward and repeat. Total of 5 times, so I have 2 more times to do. So this is going to be about 9 by 9 1/4. It's a good sized washcloth, and it really is a wonderful pattern for all kinds of, I don't know if you can really get the light here, the colors that are in it, the variegation are really pretty. Got some pearled gray and cream and greens and really pretty colors that could look very antique-y, vintage and crafty. My first repeat was a little wonky, and I don't mind it because that's what makes it look handcrafty. So when you get done with your 5 repeats, I'm going to do 2 and meet you back here, and we'll bind off together. And then if you want, you can always take your crochet hook and go in and around it if you know how to crochet, just do a little single crochet around it, or a little something something, maybe a little picot here and there, just a little fill on the bottom, or give it a little border. If you wanted to, you could have done a side stitch with this. I almost did, but I kind of like all the mosaic geometric kind of look it's doing. But if you wanted to, you could have added on a stitch here and a stitch here and just slipped those 2 stitches, or knitted the stitches, or purled them, whatever works for you. But I think it's just got that vintage rustic mosaic kind of look that is really cool. So, and you can personalize these any way you want, for men or for females, bathrooms, for kitchens, for, I don't know, rags to check the oil in your car, for whatever you want, right? And it doesn't have to just be a wet cloth. You can make pillowcases with this. You can make an entire afghan with this idea. Just add more stitches. And it's just slip stitch knitting. It's mosaic knitting. Looks really cool. It's really 3D dimensional and cool. So I'm going to go ahead and do my other 2 repeats, and then I'll meet you back to bind off. Okay, see you there. Hi, I just wanted to come back and tell you really quick that after you repeat your 12 rows 5 times, then you're going to go back and repeat row 1 through 8. So repeat 1 through 12 5 times, and go back and go 1 through 8 and bind off loosely. I'll come back to bind off with you. I've actually been sitting here for 3 hours trying to untangle a knot. But you can see how really big this is going to be. I have 1 more repeat to do, and then I'm at my 5th one, and then 1 through 8 I'll do, and then I'll come back with you. So 1 more repeat I'm doing, and then do row 1 through 8, then and you'll be ending on a purl row, and then you'll bind off. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and this actually took me about 6 hours. I had a lot going on in between. So I want to, before we bind off, I want to measure it real quick just to see how big this is. So it is, I've got 11 inches. Now it says it should be 9 across, 9 by 9. So this is really, although I threw an extra row in mine. So I'm right at 9 1/4, it should be. I did throw an extra repeat in mine. I just wanted it to be extra big. So if you do yours, and even if you look at it, it's right at right at 11. And now we still have to bind off. So hopefully you worked the first 12 rows, and then you repeated those 12 rows 5 times, and then you did go ahead and do 1 through 8 and end on 8. And 1 time, just 1 through 8. Now we're going to bind off loosely. What that means is I'm going to knit 2 stitches, and we're going to bind off with A. We're ending with the A color. We're going to bind off with the A color so that it looks even. It's purple down here. It's going to be purple up here. Whatever your A color was. So I'm going to show you how to do the bind off. You're going to knit 2 stitches. We're going to bind off loose, so don't do this too tight. And now you're going to take your needle and go into that front stitch and pass it over the first stitch and put and lock it, but not too much. I'm going to knit another one. There's always 2 over here, so we're going to pass that over. It's just like past slip stitch over. We're knitting it. We have 2 over here. Coming over here. What, Dustin? And we're passing this stitch over. So you're just going to bind off by knitting 1 and going over to the stitch. I wish I could show this better. See? Maybe I can. Nope, I can't. I will find a way to get this camera to work. Okay, so now you have 3. I mean 2. Sorry. Okay, so you can see how this is locking off. So you're locking it off. So you're just going to keep knitting 1, always having 2 on this loop, coming over here to that first stitch, passing it over the second stitch, and pulling and locking. Over here, knitting 1, going into that first stitch, passing it over that 1, and locking it. I'm going to continue binding off, and then I'll come back and we'll fasten off together. Okay, so when you get to your last stitch, binding off, you're going to go ahead and knit that. And you will have 2 stitches over here, and as we've been doing, you're going to pass that slip stitch over, and then pull up. And what I do to fasten off, everybody fastens off differently, but I cut beneath, like this, and then just bring this tail right through and make a knot. And that knot is really secure, it's fine. But if you want to make another knot, some people do, they do a couple more knots through. You can always grab a crochet hook, and you're going to have to get your, I should cut my yarn here. There we go. Let's cut that off. And you're going to take your embroidery needle, and you're going to go ahead and weave your ends in. So I have some ends over here, I have an end here, I have an end here. So you're just going to weave in your ends, and you have a really beautiful dishcloth, I think. I mean, it's huge. It's nice. It's see, is it cricket? Or we're gonna block it too. No, it's not cricket. It's fine. Nice thick washcloth. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? So this is the mosaic stitch, mosaic knitting, and it was really fun doing a tutorial with you. And you're just going to, again, just put your weave in your ends and fasten them in, and then weave in your ends and fold them up and give them as little gifts. Now if you want to, you can come along the side here. This is what I was saying. You could do a slip stitch, like add an extra stitch to your 40, instead of 45, do 47, and just slip that stitch or knit that stitch or purl it, whatever you want to do, just to make a little border. I would slip the stitch, and that's going to give it a nice evenness instead of this little roughness here. But if you wanted to, you could take a crochet hook and go in and just do a single crochet evenly along the side with the purple and make it nice and even. But I think it came out really nice. And those are the colors. I wish my writing was better, but as I said, I'm not going to try to get it all perfect. I hope you'll try this pattern. And thank you for joining me. and there will be many, many more tutorials later. You hung in there. God bless you. Okay, because it was a long tutorial. I'm going to go spend some time with my cat now. Thanks. Bye-bye.